Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Stop for a minute and just consider and think about these words by William Tyler Page. I therefore believe it is my duty to my country to love it, to support its Constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flag, and to defend it against all enemies. Amen. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. Here we go with Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. Good morning. And a good morning to you and your family. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you and telling you to get ready for wintertime driving. Along with some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Right now, let's go to the phone line, especially on this morning, and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
It's my privilege to place my hand on my heart, face the flag. I actually have a flag in my truck, and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless you, my dear friend, and please, please know that we want you to drive carefully, and thank you for taking the time to call in this morning.
You're welcome, and I do try to, but my co-driver is a United States flag.
God bless you. Thank you so much. Boy, got me all bubbled up already, and besides being bubbled up, I got to tell you folks up front, I've never lied to you on this program, and I never will. This morning, I am outraged. And I'm going to temper my remarks as best I can. But there may be some things said that maybe you don't want smaller children to hear. That's fine. They can go play in the other room. I am absolutely outraged as to what's happened in this country again. And we're not going to pull any punches this morning. If you expect me to, you're listening to the wrong broadcast. Right now, let's go and get our weather taken care of by our dear friends K&R Rental at 256 South, 300 West of Heyburn. Number to call, 678-3122. They're open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Saturdays, 7 a.m. to 2. Really good folks, Roger and the entire crew over there, with all the tools, all the equipment that you need for the various jobs that you need to get done. And if you're not sure what you need, just go in and tell them what you're doing. They will help you at K&R Rental in Heyburn, 678-3122. Right now, here's the weather.
Well, here's a look at your weather for today, and we are going to be in a wind advisory at least up until about 9 o'clock tonight. Winds out of the southwest steady at about 20 miles an hour, gusts possible of 40+. So if you are a big rigger, please be careful out there. Other than that, looking at mostly sunny skies for today, high of 62, tonight low of 40. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high of 60 with an overnight low of 41. As we get to the weekend, Friday and Saturday, 70% chance of rain showers in the forecast. Highs are going to be in the low 40s to low 50s, and lows in the mid-20s. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, my goodness. Did you hear that guitar solo in the background? Thank you, Gene. And she was playing that, honestly. No, I'm kidding. Behind in the weather forecast. I don't know if she can play the guitar or not. K&R Rental brings you the weather, 256 South, 300 west of Hayburn, 678-3122. And don't forget, I mean, they've got all the big brand names. They've got everything that you need there to get a construction project or whatever finished. All the tools, all the equipment, and just call them and get an estimate as to what you need and what it's going to cost. Absolutely. K&R Rental in Hayburn, 678-3122. I'm going to ask your indulgence this morning that we do a series of my great sponsors and commercials because I want to get into something this morning that needs to be said. And again, like I said earlier, I'm not going to pull any punches. I want to say thank you very much to our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call is 678-0459, and they have all your heating and electrical needs. All you need to do is just stop in or give them a call and ask them questions about your heating and electrical needs and or problems. They'll take care of it, fix you right up. I trust these people. They've been in business for over a half a century serving you. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. By the by, if you're not aware of it, every month we put on a lunch bunch, Zeb's Lunch Bunch from this program, and we've got so many devoted people that come down every month and have lunch with us, enjoy the great food at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and also another location, 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Breakfast, anytime, all the time. Lunch, dinner, the menu, fantastic. The food, delicious. And, of course, great people serving you. It's all there at 611 North Overland in Burley. Denny's Restaurant, it's true. America's Diner and the home of our Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Really, really good people. I had the note on my desk, and I'm just going to say I'm going to do this out of memory, that the Rodney and Carol Hopwood benefit is going to be at the Kimberly Middle School on this Saturday, November 4th. I believe the dinner's starting at 5, and then the auction and everything a little bit after the dinner. Please try to be there. These folks have gone through some tremendous problems, health problems, etc., and I just absolutely pray for them. They're really good people, and we want to wish them the best. As I said, I'm consolidating some of my commercials this morning because I want to get right into a subject matter in just a few moments. And with that being said, I want to remind you folks about Pomerell Place. If you're a senior living at home, and the sad reality is that many seniors living at home are not safe, and they don't take their medicines. They have very poor nutrition, and boy, I really feel sympathy for them. And there's this place that can help them and create a great living environment, and that's Pomerell Place, a place for senior living at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. The number to call and find out more information, Holly and everyone over there, really helpful. 677-8212. That number again, 677-8212, Pomerell Place, 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. Don't forget, Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox teamed up to help you with your home comfort systems to stay warm this winter. I want to urge you to give them a call at 678-0459, and you might get up to a $1,600 rebate on a Lennox home comfort system through Ramsey's, 678-0459. I'm so emotionally drained from last night, and this isn't theatrics. I dare anybody to say that to me. I'm drained about what's going on in this country. I'm physically drained and mentally drained. Caller, just a minute. Stand by. I'll be right with you, I promise. I'm just absolutely drained about another Muslim terrorist killer here in the United States. 8 people are dead this morning, and many more hideously injured by a Muslim killer driving over innocent people on a bike path in Manhattan, New York City. I'm going to get into this. We're going to really digest a lot of the facts this morning. You may not like what I say. That's fine. But I'm going to be honest with you. Caller, what's on your mind? Good morning. You're on the air.
At this time, I'm very proud to be an American, and I'm proud to say that I stand with you in every word you said, Bill. I was at a convenience store yesterday. A very nice young man paid for my for a couple of candy bars that I was buying, and I was astonished at. I don't see that very often. It was the first time that I've seen that in my 75 years.
Well, you know that...
He actually was so kind enough to buy for my couple of candy bars, and I just thought I'd mention this to you, that gave me a lot of hope, and it made me so proud to be an American.
You know, sir, I've always appreciated your calls. You're a very, very nice man, and the pay-it-forward attitude of a lot of people, and when I say pay it forward, I mean the being nice to somebody, and maybe hopefully somebody will be nice to somebody else in that kind of an attitude. I really respect that, and I hope that the person that did this is listening, and please know that I hope God shines on them today, because that was very nice of you to acknowledge that.
Well, God bless everybody. And at this time, let us just continue to pray for this country and especially in New York City. And let's get smart about this political correctness. Let's give it. I'm sick and tired of the Democrats. Really, I am. I mean, they have no back. They are the most evil in this world. They're losing people. They're losing the. I don't know what to think of it. I don't even want to consider them a human being in the whole bunch.
I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on this morning, but to you, I wish you a very good day. God bless you, sir, and please call again. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you. You know, that was a very nice man, and he's called on occasion, and I do mean that when I say God bless him. He's a very, very nice person. Yesterday, a Muslim killer. And don't anybody call me and say, well, now, why are you calling him a Muslim killer? Because he is. I'm not going to back up one step on anything I say this morning. This Muslim killer drove a rented truck down a bike route, a bicycle route in Manhattan, and killed 8 people and injured many, many more severely. Some are paralyzed for life. Others are going through surgery as of last night and again this morning to amputate arms and legs. And all of this because of a hate-filled, demonic ideology, Islam. Now, you can back up and you can cuss me, you can talk about me over a cup of coffee, you can say that I'm a bigot and a hate monger, and you know what? This morning, you're right. This Muslim killer shouted Allah Akbar. And they found many, many notes, etc., that he pledged allegiance to ISIS. These nincompoops, like the governor of New York, Cuomo, calling this man a lone wolf, that is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard in my life. It's a team effort of demonic attitudes of killing and maiming people. It's a part of ISIS. It's a part of the Islamic Jihad. He wasn't a lone wolf. And these poor people, and I mean this, and the part that got me so upset, caller, I'll be with you in a second, was this evil Muslim terrorist killer, after mowing down these innocent people on these bicycles, rammed this rented truck into the side of a small school bus that was carrying special needs students home after school. And then he jumps out of the truck and gleefully yells, Allah Akbar. My hatred this morning is showing, and I'm not ashamed. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Sid, I didn't need to talk to you. I just wanted to talk to Wheels and see if you couldn't clean it up a little bit so we can hear you. You got all kinds of other noise and stations behind you. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Wheels, whatever's happening over there, I don't know if it's something from the past program or whatever. They had a complaint that there's something else on the air. If you'd check that. Are you listening?
I am, sir.
All right. What is the problem? Do you know?
I don't, just because you sound perfectly fine. You sound clear as day, but I'm going to check here and see.
All right.
If I can't
Thank
figure
you.
something
Thank
out.
you. Appreciate it. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. As I stated, I am going to be covering this subject emphatically for this hour. What we saw yesterday, another Muslim killer shouting Allah Akbar, pledging allegiance to ISIS, and one thing that needs to be said. Former New York Police Commissioner Bernard Kerik said this statement, and I quote, and I agree with him. They are going to kill us if we don't kill them. We are at war, and we need to stop the immigration coming into this country now. Caller, I'll be there in a minute. I want to remind everybody about Dino Septic Service in Rupert. They do the job that nobody else wants to do. Septic tanks pumped and backhoe service, septic tanks and drain fields installed, sewer and sink drain lines cleaned. I mean, liquid waste removal. They do all of this. Again, it's a job you and I don't want to do. Dino Septic Service in Rupert. Number to call, 436-6526, or in Burley, 678-1638. Don't forget, with a big truck called Smells Cargo on the way. Dino Septic Service serving you. Really, really good people. Caller, bear with me. Have patience. I've got to get these two in right now before I take your call. I'll only be a couple of seconds here. Don't forget John Anderson running for Burley City Council for a 4-year seat. John's main goal is to keep Burley a great place to live and raise a family, watch it grow, and we need management. We need to have concerns about water, and all these things he is very, very cognizant of, and he wants to serve you on the Burley City Council. He has been a mayor of Burley for 8 years, and he would appreciate your vote for a 4-year council seat November 7th. Don't forget, vote for John Anderson for Burley City Council, paid for by John Anderson. Also, a caller, I'll be there momentarily. Don't forget, we also want to remind everybody that Steve Orman is running for mayor of Burley. He and his family have been residents of Burley for over 30 years, and he's a very experienced leader, manager, and commercial loan officer in the banking industry, where he's been doing for over 35 years, and very active in the community with the Burley Lions Club, etc. And he knows people skills, and he knows budgeting, and he wants to be your mayor of Burley. Steve Orman for mayor of Burley, November 7th, paid for by Steve Orman for mayor. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. This morning I was watching on TV about this trauma center that was close to where this happened, and the doctor that they were talking to said that when they have that kind of situation and you got two people, you've got the victim on one gurney and you got the perpetrator on the other, that you're supposed to treat them equal? I don't think so, Zeb. I think the person that's done everything that he's supposed to do in life and everything should have more of a privilege to live on than the perpetrator.
You know, Keith, I'm not going to get into playing God, and I don't think you want to either. I think that it was probably wise to save the driver, the killer, Muslim terrorist life, because maybe there might be information that can be obtained that might help. There might be others that were trying to follow in his steps of his ilk. I'm not going to play God and say, well, let's help this person and not that person. I'm not into that type of thing. All I'm saying is this is a demonic ideology. Islam, the guy was a Muslim killer terrorist. Let's call it like it is. These silly headlines like what was in the Times News this morning, 8 killed by New York motorist. Motorist, hell, the man was a Muslim killer.
That's absolutely correct. And he meant to kill as many people as he could. And why would they want to preserve his life over someone else's?
There again, I'm not going to go into matters of the Hippocratic Oath on saving lives, doctors, etc., and I don't think you want to go there either. They saved his life. Now, Now, let's get the answers to the questions and let's really interrogate him. But here's something I want to throw in. I certainly hope and pray that they did not give him any Miranda rights because, first of all, he doesn't deserve them, and secondarily, I don't think by lawyering up we're ever going to hear the truth or find out anything about why he did this, who was behind it, who was the sanctioning body, ISIS, etc. We need to answer a lot of questions because I'll tell you something, Keith, there are many more of his ilk in this country, and it's going to happen again and again and again if we don't realize we're at war with an Islamic jihad right here in the United States.
No, they did not give him his Miranda rights because they said he is not a citizen of the United States.
I certainly hope not. I certainly hope not. Keith, appreciate your call. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
I just wished I could. Those people back in New York, the families of the deceased, the families of the people that lost arms and legs, the family of the lady that's going to be permanently paralyzed, they're not going to have a good day. All thanks to a Muslim killer. One thing I'm going to say right now, and this really irritates me, is that Twin Falls police were investigating what they call a hate crime at a Twin Falls mosque. Stand by, caller. And they said this hate crime of hanging pork on a cross in front of the mosque was going to be a hate crime. You want a real hate crime this morning? The hate crime is 8 dead that did nothing more wrong than be in a bicycle path. The hate crime is all of those that have been maimed and amputated. That's a hate crime. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. It's about time we call a spade, as you said. And that person took advantage of people who were less able to defend themselves than he was.
Well,
and it's about time we protect our borders.
Linda, I don't want these refugees coming in here. And let's just say what it is. We don't know who they are. The vetting process is kindergarten at best. We don't know who they are. They don't have any computer records. They don't have a county courthouse that's going to send us a file and say, hey, this guy did this, this, and this. It's ridiculous. And we don't have a vetting process that's going to ensure our safety. And you know something, Linda? I'm more concerned about your safety and your welfare and my safety and welfare than I am somebody coming in that we don't know who they are.
And that's just it. That is just it. And we need to do something.
Well, we need to do something and
understand what we are dealing with. And we've got to call it what it is.
Amen. And I am not going to pull any punches. I don't care if it's Twin Falls City Council. I don't care if it's CSI Refugee Program. I don't care if it's Congressman Mike Simpson, who hasn't called me in 3.5 years because he took a stand against me. Oh, he wanted to welcome the Muslim and the Muslim Brotherhood to the Obama administration. And then when I stood up against it, he called me a McCarthyist. Oh, Mike, buddy, call me this morning. Love to hear what you have to say. I'm going to tell it like it is on this program, and if they don't like it, they can turn the dial. God bless you, Linda. Thank you.
God bless you, too.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Take that next call in a moment. Stand by, caller, please. I want to remind everybody about Barry Equipment and Rental and that sales, service, and parts. Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. They have all the Bobcat excavators, new and used excavators for sale or rent, all the shapes and sizes, and all you need to do is call or stop in. All the equipment rentals, retail equipment sales, everything, all the big equipment to get the job done right. And they got a sandbox out behind. you can learn how to run it before you head home and do the job. Barry Equipment and Rental. Sales, service, and parts. Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 678-7368. By the way, too, quickly want to remind you that on Monday we give away a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox right there on the square in Rupert. Oh, my goodness. What a bakery and what a restaurant serving you with the very, very best. Don't forget, on Mondays at 8:30, Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert, with our giveaway of a dozen delicious cookies. Very, very good. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I'm outraged, too. I think the guy does not deserve Miranda rights in any way. I think he ought to be treated as an enemy combatant.
He is.
He ought to be treated similarly to how they treat our soldiers.
Wait, whoa.
They have their Bible in their country. Our soldiers lose their rights. I think when they catch this, when they put him into jail, he ought to have his head shaved and his face shaved. I think he ought to be treated like a soldier is when they come into the service. They eat everything they get, and they eat the same thing the other soldiers eat.
Jerry, wait a minute. Jerry.
Privileges. They have absolutely nothing. They're a prisoner, and that's what they are, and they're going to be treated like that.
Jerry, wait a minute. You called him a soldier, and I will not call him a soldier.
Well,
and I don't... Wait a minute, Jerry, please. Wait a minute. Jerry, no. He is a terrorist. He's not an enemy combatant. He's not a soldier. He is a terrorist. He is a killing terrorist. That's all he is. Don't give him any amplification or any more for martyrdom if he had died, because he's nothing more than a killer terrorist.
Well, that's exactly what he is. He's a murderer. He went out with the intent of murdering innocent people. These guys were not soldiers of any kind. They were just people riding a bicycle on a bike path, and people that, had special needs. And when you hit a bus that's hauling any youth, you're worse than a criminal. You're a disgrace to the world, and that's what he is,
all right.
in my opinion.
Jerry, I appreciate your call as always, and God bless you and your family. Super nice people. Thank you.
May the Lord bless.
This vermin, and I'm not going to raise him up in elevated status, not a soldier. He's not an enemy combatant. He's nothing more than a Muslim killer terrorist. That's it. And my friend Brigitte Gabriel was on television last night, stating what she has said for a long, long time. We do not know who's coming in. Stop the immigration from those countries. Think of us, the United States, first. We need a 100% turnaround with tougher vetting. We don't know who these people are. You are pie in the sky dreaming if you think we know what their intentions are or what their past is. And we need to stop the political correctness in this country and start looking, investigating, and perceiving what really is going on right in front of our eyes. For heaven's sakes. Caller, just please bear with me a moment if you would. I've got to get these in. It's a part of the job. And I want to say thank you very much to Bryce Morgan. And he's going to be running for Burley City Council. And he wants your vote next Tuesday, November 7th. And believe me, he has a lot of knowledge of finances and accountability. And he wants to be on the Burley City Council to serve you for the big challenges of the future and growth, etc. This man has a master's degree in business administration and a bachelor's degree in accounting. He's a fiscal conservative and believes in keeping family, business, and government out of debt. Don't forget, vote next Tuesday for Bryce Morgan for Burley City Council, paid for by Bryce Morgan. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Well, I think what you're right, Bridget Gabriel and those of us that have been warning about all of this, how many... I think since 9/11, this makes over 100 terrorist attacks, and the body count just keeps adding up. But we, as you said, we cannot vet these people. Now we're going to let them in on this visa lottery thing that I don't think many people are aware that even took place. So here's the bottom line. This jihadist killer Muslim is a follower of the Quran. If they read the Quran and do as directed, there's 106 verses in there that says, either we convert or kill. And it's fundamental Islam. He wasn't radicalized by ISIS. ISIS was radicalized by the Quran. And it's been going on for 1,400 years. We better start learning from history. These people took down the Trade Center, and they killed in Orlando and San Diego and different places. I mean, all over the country. Here's 8 more people killed, and several of those that were injured will have lifelong injuries. And it's just a matter of time till that happens right here in Magic Valley, if they really want to do it, or if they become radical.
All right, wait a minute, Adrian, hold on a second, and I've got to cut you short a little bit because I get a lot of people in. I just want you to respond and give me a short answer on this. It's high time, past time, that we, our government, and all our politicians started thinking about us, the citizens and taxpayers of the United States, before we are concerned about bringing everybody here to the United States. It is not a right to come to America. It is something as a gift, and I think right now we need to cut off the gift.
Well, absolutely. Immigration should be stopped. We need to find out who's here. But the real point I want to point out is the goal of Islam is to take over the world, to conquer the world, either with jihad or population. They on the average have 8 kids, and we're not even hardly at 2 in this country. So, and this is what's happening all over the world. And so their goal is they're hiding behind the religion. Okay, they say, well, we've got to treat these religion. It's not really a religion. It's a theocracy to control the world. They're hiding behind the facade of a religion. We've got to get that through people's head that this is, when they read the Quran, they're going to be radicalized just by reading the Quran. They don't need to be radicalized otherwise. I mean, this is just part of their fundamental Islam, is to do what they're doing.
I got to run and do some commercials. I got to do some, Adrian.
And Bridget Gabriel and all of those. But we need to stand up. Here, one more last point.
No, hurry, because I've got a commercial break fast.
Listen, there is no remorse from CARE and any of these Muslim groups. There's no, saying, oh, we're sorry that we had one of our people do this. They never have. The same old story time and time again.
I appreciate it.
They need to be kicked out of the country and stop from bringing them in.
All right, thank you, Adrian. I got to run and do a commercial break. Thank you, and I do appreciate your call this morning. I think you were spot on. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really upset about this morning. I look back at these kids. They just got out of school. And there were some of the people on the bike path that were gathered from other countries, Argentina being one of them, having a class reunion and a bike ride on this bike path near the river in Manhattan. Beautiful area. Beautiful area. And the kids getting out of school and the special needs children on that bus that was rammed broadside by this Muslim terrorist killer. I certainly hope that you understand my hate and vindictiveness this morning against these people. It's got to stop. It has got to stop. This morning, this Muslim killer was in the hospital, sitting up, and the reports are out already that he is happy, I'm quoting, happy and gleeful. Happy and gleeful for what he did. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, Lennox, along with Ramsey Heating and Electric and their home comfort systems. You can enjoy the indoor comfort of a Lennox home comfort system. All you need to do is call Ramsey's at 678-0459. And you can get up to a $1,600 rebate on a new Lennox home comfort system. Call them today, Ramsey Heating and Electric, at 678-0459. The Bennett Boys auction, they're going to have another ripping good auction this Saturday, as a matter of fact. Bennett Boys auction service, the Penny and Courtney Honhorst auction. It's going to be this Saturday at 11 a.m., located in Wendell, Idaho, at 3012 South, 2200 East, and oh my goodness, they've got a lot of sheep wagons, livestock items, sporting items. They've got guns, tractors, ATVs, antique farm equipment. They've got all kinds of shop equipment and tools, antique lawn and garden items. Whoa, you're going to really see this as a good sale to be in attendance. And that's, of course, the Penny and Courtney Honhorst auction this coming Saturday at 11 o'clock over in Wendell. Look for the signs and put on and managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. Joe Bennett, 539-0111. Your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We had better speak out, and we'd better speak up. I am going to be calling all my congressmen, senators, anybody else that will listen to me and take a call, because I do not want any more immigration coming in from these hot spots of the world. I want a complete vetting system that we know all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed before we let anybody else in. These bleeding heart liberals saying, oh, well, come on to America. No, not now. I want to protect us first. Us first. Don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. The number to call, make an appointment for you. They can help you get back to being you. 678-1191. I mean, all the sprains and the strains and the accidents and the surgeries, and they've got all the physical therapists there that can really help you with all the exercises and the use of that hydrotherapy pool. Oh my, the best. They really are their main aim, to serve you and help you get back to being you. Call for an appointment today at 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Call them today, 678-1191. You know, when you have something like this happen, it just absolutely, it just blows me away that people will kind of withdraw. When at this time we should be very vocal, and I'm criticizing people that aren't. We should be very vocal and very demanding about what we as citizens of this United States want or don't want. I don't want to read a story, another one, or follow it all into the late hours of the night about another killer Muslim terrorist running down some group of people on a bike path. I don't want to read about another bombing. I don't want to read about another shooting. But we've got to take a proactive stance and be very much on the offense. And to heck with playing defense. That's not going to do anything except increase the body count. We've got to go on offense right now and do more investigation, more vetting, and quite frankly, knock off on this stupid, silly political correctness. And if we have to put people inside the mosque to find out what's going on, let's do it. It's not a bunch of Presbyterians, Mormons, or Methodists that are doing the bombing and the killing and the running over people. Calls are welcome. Stand up and let your voice be heard. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Right now it's time for the weather forecast, brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with the lovely Dr. Christine Pickup, and they're right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. The number to call, 312-0957. And Dr. Pickup has started a new program in conjunction with the Minidoka Hospital Hospice Program, and if you or a family member is on hospice and having problems hearing, you can get the help you need with hearing aids at no cost from Dr. Christine Pickup at 312-0957. We'll have the weather, and then caller, I'll get your call. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Well, here's a look at your weather for today, and we are going to be in a wind advisory at least up until about 9 o'clock tonight. Winds out of the southwest steady at about 20 miles an hour, gusts possible of 40 plus. So if you are a big rigger, please be careful out there. Other than that, looking at mostly sunny skies for today, high of 62 tonight, low of 40 tomorrow. Mostly sunny, high of 60 with an overnight low of 41 as we get to the weekend, Friday and Saturday. 70% chance of rain showers in the forecast. Highs are going to be in the low 40s to low 50s and lows in the mid-20s. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. If you're noticing a diminishment in your hearing, please call for a hearing screening today at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, 312-0957. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. You notice they immediately say the driver. Somebody does a gun, uses a knife, the stabber. They use the bomber, but a shooting they say the gun.
That's true. You know, the transition of terror from the bombings and the shootings now to innocent people being wiped out, walking down a sidewalk, walking across a bridge, or sitting at a sidewalk cafe, or bikers riding in a bike lane in Manhattan. How are you going to legislate? How are you going to stop and curb someone from doing these heinous, dastardly deeds as killing people en masse like yesterday? How are you going to stop that?
You're not, because some of them aren't going to come on the radar, like the Las Vegas shooting never even showed up on the radar. What are we going to do? We're going to have screenings now to rent a car.
You know, I can't even imagine, my dear, and I don't even want to imagine the suffering, the pain, and the anguish that the family members, the school, everybody is going through this morning. For the ones that are going to be maimed and crippled and handicapped for the rest of their life with amputations, etc., my heart goes out to them, and I mean that. I just absolutely feel terrible. And for the special needs children that were rammed, and the bus was a mess. It was absolutely terrible. Rammed by this killer Muslim. I mean, I don't know what to do, but I feel like we need to do something, and starting with a cut down on immigration, a cut down on the refugees coming here unless we know who they are emphatically. I don't know what we can do. I
know. And here's my thought on that Vegas shooting, because there's going to be a lot of people need all of his assets, and this truck driver, all of their assets need to be liquidated, and all of the money, every single cent of it, needs to go pay for funerals, starting with funerals, because that's a huge expense you didn't expect today, and then the rest of them go to rehabilitation, hospital bills for people that don't have insurance, all that.
Yes.
They just need to be stripped of everything they ever owned.
We are living, and I think you'll agree with me on this, we are living in a very dangerous society. And you know why, in my opinion, it's more dangerous than ever? It's because of complacency and foolish politics of political correctness.
Yeah, I heard on one of the news channels, they were saying, oh, now we're going to have to watch all bike paths. No, because we already hit the bike path, so we're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Don't focus on the whole problem, not zero in on the one item.
You know, again, my prayers and thoughts are with those family members today, not only those of the deceased, but also those that right now are hurting and their whole life has been turned upside down, and quite frankly, they don't have a life right now. I'm just very concerned for them. Thank you for your call. God bless you. Thank you so much. Don't forget that Mr. Ralph Carlson is running as a candidate for the Burley City Council, and he said he would really like to serve the city of Burley. He has a great understanding of how businesses work, and he also knows the growth in the area absolutely needs to be watched, and it needs to be understood. And he says he has some answers, and he can help take care of some of the many challenges that are going to fall to the area with zoning restrictions, systems, utilities, street and recreational facilities, upkeep, etc. And he wants to help serve the community of Burley. Ralph Carlson for Burley City Council, paid for by Ralph Carlson. Your thoughts are appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, when this happens, for a couple of days, we really talk about it, and we give a lot of lip service to, well, we've got to do this and we've got to do that. And then, unfortunately, we put it on the back burner, and we forget about it. We need to make demands. You may not like President Trump, but you know what? He's been pretty much right about protecting you and I over the rights and the wishes and the wants of somebody coming in from a foreign country. Right now, we need to have better surveillance. Right now, we need to have a better vetting process. And most of all, we need to stop all the political correctness. Oh, well, we can't say this. Oh, well, we can't write about that. We might step on somebody's toes. We might hurt somebody's feelings. Who cares? If stopping political correctness would have saved the lives of the 8 people killed yesterday, or if stopping political correctness would have saved those that had their arms and their legs amputated, then I say, great. Let's stop all the stupid political correctness. Investigate and interrogate and find out who the bad guys are. Calls are welcome, 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call, I'm also going to tell you that I know this is something you probably don't want to hear, but it's time to get ready for winter driving. That's right, winter driving, the snow, the slush, the ice, everything else. Well, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers have all the tires for safe wintertime driving, like the City R202 tire, low-cost all-season design, just $39.99, or the Observe GSI number 5, starting at just $97.50, just outstanding in ice and snow. All the different tires, all the different tread designs for you and your safe driving on your cars, pickups, SUVs, etc. Please stop in. They've also got all the tire chains, too. Everything for you for safe winter driving at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. It's coming. You better be ready. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I devoted this first hour to one subject, and I'm probably going to carry it on a little bit in the next half hour with my dear friend Dave Bigo, because I think it goes without saying, enough is enough, and this has got to stop. I listened to the so-called experts this morning, from Dan Bongino to Brigitte Gabriel, many, many, many more that study terrorism, understand terrorism, and they understand that we've got to stop this. Somehow we've got to stop it. It's either, quite frankly, and very bluntly, kill or be killed. That's what it boils down to. And if you think this isn't a war, you're wrong. These people, these Muslim terrorist killers, all they want to do is just absolutely kill, maim, and destroy. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, this baloney about letting all these refugees and Muslim people in, not just Muslim, but everybody. You know, we are a country of immigrants, but they were immigrants that wanted to assimilate and make this country great and find the American dream. These ones that they're letting in now, they're never going to assimilate. They want to destroy us and make it just like their country.
Well, wait a minute. Let me interrupt you, Donna.
Let them go.
Well, what I want to say quickly, I agree with everything you said, but you know what? We need to know more about them before they get here. The vetting process, if anybody tells you, whether it's CSI or anybody else, oh, well, they're vetted, we know all about them, that is complete baloney, like using your word. We don't. The vetting process is terrible. I've got another call waiting, Donna. God bless you and George, and tell George to call me later. I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, God bless. Caller number 2, you're on the air quickly. I've got 1 minute left.
Yeah, the people who are running CSI and influencing these people to come in here as, I call them perpetrators, when are they going to learn that Twin Falls is no different than any other place? We have bypass, we have airports, we have everything like that. And you think these people are going to differentiate between the big cities and the small ones?
What I want,
think so.
I agree with you, Keith, and what I want right now is honestly an appraisal of where we are, who they are, what they want. Oh, I want all the backgrounds checked and everything because I don't think we're safe. I'm just going to say it at that. Keith, I got to run to the news. Thank you very much.
See you later, buddy.
All right. We're going to take a little break for about 7 minutes, and Wheels is going to take us over to CBS News. We'll be back. Don't go away. Oh, boy. Good morning to you, and welcome back to hour number 2 of Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, and get ready for winter driving. You'd better believe it. And also some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is landing ahead, always at your disposal.
Western Way Services, don't forget to get a dumpster if you need to clean out the basement, clean out the garage, or maybe you're going to come over and help me clean out my office. We need a big dumpster. Well, I'll tell you what, they've got them in all kinds of sizes. Give them a call today, 734-6969. Western Way Services, living up to their logo and their motto, always at your disposal. Call them today, Western Way Services. Want to remind you, too, Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, and they have the Lennox home comfort systems. Oh, my goodness, you might be able to qualify for up to a $1,600 rebate on a Lennox home comfort system. All you need to do is call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at, of course, 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, saving you money. By the way, too, every day at this time, we talk about some really, really good friends of mine and good friends of yours, people that serve you in a time of real need. And that's, of course, when there's the passing of a loved one. Always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. They really want you to call them, find out more information, and they can get you through the rough spots, believe me. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. That number to call, Joel Heward, his family, and his staff, 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. Believe me, serving you and your family. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and a very dear friend of mine in Indianapolis, Indiana, the author of The Devil at My Doorstep, The Devil at Our Doorstep, and great businessman, Dave Bego. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Zeb. Good to be back with you.
Dave, I'm not going to hedge around anything this morning. I'm just going to be very blunt like I was in the first hour. It is past time to throw away the ridiculous, asinine political correctness after the absolute travesty that took place yesterday in New York City on Manhattan. And we have got to know about these Muslim terrorist killers. We've got to forget the PC. We've got to investigate. We've got to interrogate. We need to stop this.
Well, we do, Zeb, but you got to understand, and I pointed out this in my book, and I've done it when I've done speeches, is that the left and their tactics and their agenda. By the way, I'm in the process of writing another blog about what's going on right now. I haven't written a blog in a while, but the bottom line is that they want to go out and say, oh yeah, they protect everybody and they take care of everybody, and we're doing this for you guys and all this and that. And on the other side, they condemn you for being against racial justice or religious justice or people coming in from another country, different backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. And they did the same things against me and my company. And what you have to do, and again, it comes back to your right, their political correctness that they try and use against you. But you have to come back and expose them for what they are. And, when I did speeches, and I even said it in my book and that, I don't care what your background is, you're black, white, yellow, pink, polka dotted, what your religion is, whatever, as long as you're good people and you do the right things and you stand up and obey the laws of our country. And that's what we got to get back to in this country, and I think Trump is trying to do that, but we need to push forward faster.
And Dave, where are these people? I heard 3 people on the left yesterday. I heard 2 Congress people, and I heard another person get on the news after this absolute heinous killing by a Muslim killer, and they said, well, it's a right to come to America. No, it is not. You show me in the Constitution where it says one doggone thing about it's a right for foreigners to come to this country.
No, the truth is it's a privilege to come to this country. And if you want to come to this country, which is the greatest country the world has ever known, then you have to go through the process and be vetted and make sure that your background fits and that you meet our requirements. And then when you are in this country, you need to, again, obey our laws. And the problem with all this, Zeb, is, and you've heard me say this many, many times, and I'm going to continue to say it, is that the whole agenda is to bring this country down.
Yes.
The left doesn't like the fact that they can't control everything, and they want to change us into a socialistic, communist country. And part of doing that is, impeaching Trump, bringing the country down, and moving forward. And we're going to see this is going to pick up. I don't know if you've heard, on November 4th, Antifa is going to start their protest and that across the country, and they're saying they're going to be peaceful protests, but I'll be surprised about that.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be ugly all across the country.
Okay, right there. I know that you're much more mellow than I am, and I'm not being derogatory. I'm not being cynical. I'm not saying anything less on your personality, but I'm to the point, Dave, where former New York Police Commissioner Bernard Kerik said it last night, and it was quoted again this morning. They are going to kill us if we don't kill them. We are at war, and nobody seems to realize this on the left, and it's about high time that we started protecting us.
Well, I agree with you. I don't know that we need to go out and just start shooting people and all that.
No, nobody said that. I didn't say that.
Be afraid if they come after us, we have to defend ourselves, and if that means physical, then that's what we got to do. I'm just saying that professionally, from a professional standpoint, we got to wake up America to what's going on, and get these people that are being brainwashed to understand that this isn't about taking care of people and doing nice things and looking at people from different backgrounds and all that. This is an agenda to bring this country down, period.
I agree with that. Nobody's saying about picking up anything and going out and being like an offensive force and taking care of wiping out entire groups of people. I'm not even advocating such a foolish thought. But, the concept that Bernard Kerik said was correct. They, with their ideology and their mindset with jihad, they are out to kill us, and we have to stop the problem. It's plain and simple.
Yeah, we do, and we got to get tough and use force in that to shut things down. And we see them coming along, and we got to get our government in line. And I think Trump is trying to do that in his administration. But unfortunately, his administration and Congress and that, even the Republican Party is still infiltrated by these politically correct people that all they care about is getting reelected, or they're part of the group to bring this country down.
The number one thing, Dave, and you know this is true, I've talked to a lot of people that are involved in the process of trying to obtain information, trying to get the info on people with a vetting process, and almost every person I've talked to said that we are way, way behind in getting information because the refugees coming into this country, they don't have dossiers on themselves from their county courthouse. They don't have any information other than, this is my name, this is who I am, take it or leave it. The vetting process is a joke, and we've got to make it a lot tougher.
Well, we do, and if they don't have the information that's required, they shouldn't be allowed to step foot in this country, period. And, we got to get back to that. And, you remember all the people years ago, they go back and say, well, we are a country of immigrants. That's true. But people came into this country and they did it the right way. The Statue of Liberty, and they were vetted. Their backgrounds were checked.
That's
and everything, right. And it got even more intense after that. And we got to get back to that.
My heart, and I know you're a humanitarian with all that you do in your community and everything, but I'm going to tell you that when I saw what had happened with the bicyclists being mowed down and killed and others maimed, some of which are going to be crippled for life. Others had to have their arms and their legs amputated. And then this demonic Islamic killer lays in the hospital bed this morning, and the quote was, he was happy and gleeful for what he had done. What a sick, perverse ideology.
It is, Zeb, and, unfortunately, these people, they're sick people, and a lot of them have been brainwashed that this is the right thing to do. And, it's, as I say in my book, if you remember my foreword in my book, we have to get to the point, you say I'm not forceful, but I am. and I use the same tactics when I play basketball if I have to. But in my book, Christmas Story, the movie Christmas Story,
yes.
When the little boy, he's getting pushed around all the time and by the bully, and finally out in the snow on the playground, he punches the bully in the nose and knocks him down in the snow and jumps on him and, takes care of him. And that's what we got to do with these people.
Dave, you know these people. I know a lot of these people involved in politics and involved in the running and mechanics of our country. You know Mike Pence. But why is there such a, and I hate to use the word naivete, or why is there like a horse with blinders on attitude that they're letting this problem exacerbate and grow like a cancer in this country? It's got to be stopped. And a lot of the politicians just turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to it.
When it comes to the politics end of it, it's all about getting reelected. These people don't want to do anything that will cost them votes and not get reelected. And, especially in Congress and the Senate, and that's what this is all about. And, I've talked to these people before about these things, and I've told you before, too, I believe there should be term limits. That way,
absolutely.
We don't have people trying to stay in Washington all the time. They go for a couple terms, and they're gone, and they go back to the private sector. And that would cure a lot of this problem. And we need to get it done.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, I'm going to change and shift gears a little bit, because this Mueller investigation, I don't know what your thoughts are about Robert Mueller. I don't know if you really think he's doing a good, bad, or indifferent job on his investigation, which I think has absolutely gone to, years and years and years ago, and the incrimination and the finger pointing and everything. All the money that's funding this is out of your pocket, my pocket, and the American public's pocket. Really, what are they accomplishing?
Well, we don't know at this point, and it's going to be interesting to see what goes on, and you really see what Mueller's goals are, and where he really points the fingers in the end in that. Because I've got mixed emotions about him as an individual and what his agenda and his goals are. But if we do have other countries involved in trying to, affect our election process and other things, we do need to expose that and stop it. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if, in the end of the day, if Mueller does a good job and he really finds the things out, that he's going to find people in the Obama and Hillary Clinton administrations that were involved in this stuff, and that they need to be prosecuted for it.
One of the people that I work with on occasion back in Washington, D.C., that helps me get a lot of the information for my program, and they asked that their name remain anonymous in any conversation for a period of time. I asked them about the Uranium One deal with Hillary Clinton's involvement, the Clinton Foundation's involvement, Obama, et cetera, and this person in particular said, Zeb, you ain't seen nothing yet, in kind of a long-term remark of saying, boy, we've just seen the tip of the iceberg and it's going to get a lot dirtier. What are your thoughts?
No, I think it is. And, it's back to this Antifa thing that's supposed to start on November 4th. I don't know if you know, but Hillary Clinton funneled $800,000 to her political group that funds Antifa. And so, she's behind all this protest and everything out there, and that she's behind other things that would ruin this country, like the uranium. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Let me ask you about this November 4th Antifa threat. And again, I've talked to a lot of people in the news media that help as reporters gather the news and disseminate it for broadcast, etc. They're really worried. They're thinking this thing could turn into one word, chaos, on November 4th, and that police and other controlling agencies better come down hard at first, or it's going to run completely out of hand. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I think we have. I think it has to be addressed immediately and thoroughly, and we can't let this get out of hand at all. And I hope the police forces across the country are ready for this. But I'm concerned, because I don't know if you saw they made a list of a lot of the cities that it's in.
Yeah,
going to be in to start off with, and imagine this: most of them are Democratic cities like Chicago and Los Angeles and New York and places like that. So they're going to have a lot of support behind them in these demonstrations.
What do you think, as a businessman and a person that really understands and knows politics, what really are they protesting? What really are their demands? What really do they want to see stopped? What really are they trying to promote, Antifa, other than total chaos?
Well, it's very simple. They're trying to make the countries look at Donald Trump and his administration and the Republican Party that sides with them, that they're bad people. They don't care about the rest of the country and the rest of people in this country and other people in the world, and they're bad people, and they need to Trump needs to be impeached and this administration brought down. And again, this whole thing is with Soros and the SEIU and other people on the far left. Their whole goal is to bring down this country and turn us into a socialist communist country that they can control.
Yeah.
It's all about control, and that's what this is about. And unfortunately, these people don't get it. And by the way, most of these people are being paid to go out there and do this.
That's right. That's exactly right. What about the city of Indianapolis? I've only been through there once, a long, long time ago. But what's the mood of your city and the people that you work with, other business leaders, other community leaders? What are their thoughts about what really is going on to create turmoil in this country?
I think there's a lot of the same feelings and thoughts that I've addressed here today. And fortunately, we don't see it here as much as you do in some of the other places. Again, if you look at the cities that they're saying this is going to start in, as I just mentioned, Chicago and New York, L.A., and some other big liberal cities across the country, You know, people in places like Indianapolis tend to step back a little bit and not worry about it as much. But they're going to try and build this across the country, and I'm sure we may see it in places like Indianapolis, and that's my concern.
Now, you, of course, know more about labor unions than I ever will because of the fact of your being involved with a face-to-face against the SEIU, etc. What part or what major part of all this chaos with Antifa, etc., do you think is really promoted by the unions?
Well, I think they help them recruit people, and I think that they're help funding some of it behind the scenes. And you know, it's like the SEIU and Black Lives Matters and Fight for 15 and other things. And I think that you know, these people with Soros are all arm in arm. And I don't know if you remember, but at one point, Acorn, which is a big group of Soros, they shared offices across the country with the SEIU. Mm-hmm. That ought to tell you something right there.
Absolutely. You know, I'm going to kind of leave it up to you. Anything else you want to mention this morning on our program? I want to tell you, Dave, every week I look forward to having you on there. You've got a cool hand, Luke approach to the news. I appreciate that, as opposed to me, the neighborhood hothead. But anyhow, thank you for coming on the program. Is there anything else you want to mention this morning?
Well, I don't know if you saw it, but out in New Brunswick, New Jersey, two New Jersey high school football officials walked off the field Friday night after players knelt during the national anthem. And I thought that was pretty interesting. They just said, you know, they said they're not in favor of anyone disrespecting our country, our flag, or the armed forces. And it was great to see somebody do that. It'd be nice to see some NFL officials do that.
Amen. Dave, appreciate it. God bless you, man. You're a dear friend, and have a great week, and we'll look forward to next Wednesday. Dave Bego in Indianapolis, Indiana, thank you so much.
Thank you, Zeb. Have a good week.
All right, buddy. Thanks much. I never met the man face-to-face, but I'll guarantee he's a dear, dear friend. Dave Bego, back in Indianapolis. Thank you. I got to pay some bills, and I want to remind you about Dr. Bill and the staff over at Ark Animal Hospital. Deanne, if you would channel our guests in here for the next half hour, I mean, kind of shuttle them along, I'd appreciate it. Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. The number to call, 678-1177. Dr. Bill and the staff, they have a mixed animal practice at Ark Animal Hospital, and meaning big or small, they love them all. And believe me, they can help your little bitty kitty cats all the way up to your great big dairy cows. They will help those animals for better health. Don't forget Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn. Number to call, 678-1177. They have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Hey, by the way, don't forget, too, John Anderson is running for Burley City Council for a 4-year seat, and his main goal is to keep Burley a great place to live and raise a family and have a business, and everybody try to thrive in this great environment of southern Idaho. He was the mayor of Burley for 8 years, and his first concern is water rights for the city, and he knows all about these issues and wants to help and serve you. John's concerned about the city infrastructure and about charging citizens a fair rate. He wants your vote on November 7th, and that's, of course, John Anderson for the Burley City Council, paid for by John Anderson for Burley City Council. Caller, I'm only going to give you 30 seconds, real fast. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
How many of these guys are being trained right here on our own soil, right under the noses of the police and everybody else?
Well, you know that it's happening right now, day by day, 24/7. You know that Martin Moyer wrote a book about it called Twilight in America, with all the jihadi camps around the United States, be it New York State or out in Oregon or wherever. And we're so naive and, quite frankly, blatantly stupid that we're not taking care of these problems.
Well, de Blasio a few minutes ago said New York is a beacon for all the world.
Bill de Blasio should have been on that children's show and dressed up as Big Bird, because that's about all the intelligence he has.
You're right. Okay. Okay, I won't hold you up any longer.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. God bless you, Tony. Thank you. We're going to have our next set of guests with us in a few moments. One guy I trust, the other one I don't know. I've still got reservations about him. I've known him for years. Talking about you, George. No, I'm talking about you. Hey, listen, don't forget Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland in Burley. You know what? It's time to get your house ready for the Christmas holidays, Thanksgiving, and everything else. They have got a brand new shipment of floor coverings, carpet, vinyl, and luxury vinyl planks and carpeting. All of this at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. Jeff Bronson is back at Lee's Furniture, and he's got a great staff of serving you, LeGrand, Morgan, Hillary, Emily, all of them. And I'll tell you what, they really have all the furniture, all the mattresses and bedroom sets. They've got it all. You better get your house ready for the holidays at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see those good folks today. I've got one, JR, right over here in my stand, but we're going to have our guests get with us in just a moment. You want to take that microphone out of that holder, George, and then you two can pass that good mic back and forth. Ladies and gentlemen, before I introduce my guests, I want to remind you about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, and they're located on Highway 24 over in Rupert. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more for you, your family, and your business. And all you need to do is just give them a call and find out how they can serve you at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. I have two very good friends here in the studio, and we have Mr. J.R. Strunk and my dear friend George Mass. How are you, J.R.? Good to have you on. Oh, no, wait a minute. Hand the mic over here. I'm sorry. We'll start with George first this morning. You brought a guest with you, or did he drive and pick you up?
I was his chauffeur. I came with him.
Where's your suit and tie?
Too small.
Too small?
Yeah.
It fit 30 years ago, right?
Yeah, probably.
By the way, before we get started, did you have a good luck with your grandson hunting?
We did. We didn't get no big game, no deer, but he went fishing. He caught a 19-inch trout out of that little stream.
Ooh.
And we hunted a while and fished a while. So it was... we don't lose nothing but not get nothing. We just enjoy each other and what God give us here on earth to admire.
You know something? The greatest part of going hunting is not really pulling the trigger. To me, it's all the camaraderie and the sitting around the campfire and quite frankly, the lies and the stories and everything else.
Oh, they get some good stories, I'll tell you. And they got to stay on the hill.
Absolutely. You brought a good friend with you here today. What's the purpose for our meeting this morning?
The Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association 13-5 has their annual spaghetti feed to raise money.
Uh-huh.
And if I may comment a moment on the combat veterans, they are very supportive throughout Magic Valley. They've helped me a lot on getting money for this.
I need you to speak up a little bit, George.
To get money for the kids for school on the U.S. Constitution books. JR and the boys has always been there. Just one phone call away, and they show up.
Hand that over to JR, if you would, George, old buddy. Thanks. And I got to tell you, folks, that when JR and his followers do an event, and they get on those Harleys, and you can hear them coming for about a mile away, and the most patriotic event with the flag flying, and then you hear those Harleys coming around the corner, the goosebumps that go from my spine to my neck, and I'll tell you what, it just makes you proud to be an American. JR, good morning to you. How are you?
Good. Thank you, Zeb.
Man, I'll tell you what, how long have you been riding Harleys?
I don't know. I guess I started riding when I was 16 years old, and that's quite a few years ago.
I was going to say, was the gray on your face then or not?
No, that wasn't very much on my face then.
I can say that because I got all the gray too.
Yes.
But now, what makes a Harley, the sound of those things? It's a unique sound, isn't it?
It is, and I was even told once that Harley Davidson patented that noise.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Is it true?
Yes, as far as I know it is.
How do you patent a sound, though?
Well, the design on how they fire them. They fire... both pistons come up about the same time, and then one fires in the other real quick, and it's... I've heard some offshore bikes have tried to duplicate that and got in a little trouble over it, but
really?
That's just hearsay. I don't know that fact.
Now, what is the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Club Association?
Combat Veterans is just exactly what it is. Everybody that's in the combat veterans that wears a patch has been in combat, not just military, but in combat. And we get together, we try to, it's veterans helping veterans, and we try to get together and do whatever we can to help veterans families. They could be our age of veteran that needs help, and we're
the old people.
Everybody. A veteran is a veteran.
That's right.
Whether they were a combat veteran or not. Yeah. It's just a veteran is a veteran.
I think all the combined years in the studio right now would knock a computer out of whack, wouldn't it, if we had to add them all up? Especially with George.
Especially George.
Yeah. Yes. But now, the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, how did it start? I mean, did you start it, or who started it?
Oh, no, absolutely not. They started back east. Just a bunch of veterans wanted to do something and got together, and it just exploded. Actually, I think now there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 20,000 members in the United States,
really?
And a couple of countries overseas, Germany and a couple of countries overseas.
Do you ever have kind of a unified convention or big meeting or anything?
Yes, sir, once a year, and it scatters left, right, all over the country. They had one. Let's see, this year it was in California.
Really?
Yeah, and next year we'll be back east, and then...
Are you going to go?
Not usually. It's a lot of travel, travel expenses, and it's you have to pay for it out of your own pocket, so it's pretty expensive. We have a state meet every year. We had it this year in Twin Falls, and it worked pretty good.
How many were involved?
Oh, I think there was about 170 that come down for just Idaho.
On Harleys?
Yeah.
I wished I could have been there to just hear that.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
Oh, entertaining. Well, now, what's this about a 6th annual dinner and raffle? Why? Why are you having this dinner and raffle?
Just like I said, it's veterans helping veterans, and it's a fundraiser we do every year for to get that money. A lot of it goes at Christmas to help out there, and just throughout the year. This year hasn't been as many requests for financial help as it has been in the past. I believe last year was about $7,200 we give out.
Really?
This year here, of course, Christmas is coming, and we're always glad to help as many as we can.
Well, now let me ask you this. Veterans helping veterans, that's what it says at the top of the page here. But I guess my question is, how do you know who to help? Do they put in an application for assistance? Or, I mean, how do you know that the veterans need help?
Oh, we get, sometimes it's somebody, a friend of a friend. Sometimes it comes through the National Guard Armory in Twin Falls. We have a lady there that is really good about when she finds out something, she'll call. And it just, like say, a friend of a friend or whoever. We trust that whoever's asking for money is actually a veteran. Sometimes if we're in doubt, we'll ask for a little bit of proof, but we always give them the money.
You know, I just can't thank you enough for what you do. And the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association's Veterans Helping Veterans chapter, is it right, 13-5? Is that the way to say that? Okay. Now, you're going to have your 6th annual dinner and raffle, and it's going to be in Twin Falls coming up this Saturday, right?
That's correct.
Give us a little background on it.
We're out here at the River Christian Fellowship Church out on Falls Avenue in Twin Falls. They're gracious enough to let us use their facility. They've got a nice kitchen, and George tries to poison us with his food. He says Don is cooking this year, so I think we're safe.
Whoa! Stop right there. Did you tell me that George is cooking?
I take that back. Don is cooking. George doing dishes.
What's the bill of fare this year? What are you going to have to eat?
It's spaghetti, and we have a couple of the retirement centers there that they've asked to do a contest about their desserts. They'll have several different desserts.
Can I make a word of caution right there, JR?
Okay,
keep George away from the table until the judging's over.
There you go.
All right. No, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're raffling off a Savage 270 rifle this year, and then we got a 12-gauge shotgun we're going to raffle off for people at the dinner. They have to be at the dinner to buy tickets. And we have a lot of raffle prizes. We've got
You're going to raffle George?
Well,
boy, I can see there'd be no bidding.
Yeah, we'll probably let that one.
We're going to raffle off George Mass now, and all of a sudden there's empty seats in the auditorium.
I want to invite you and Yan. Like I told you before, I'll be proud to pay for your dinner if you'll show up.
No, if I show up, I guarantee you, if I'm in town, I pay for because I want to support the veterans.
Well, I appreciate that.
No, that's fine.
I would invite everybody's listening back to it. It's just more the merrier.
Now, it's only $10, right?
The raffle tickets are $10.
$10.
Yeah.
And the dinner is
$6.50 per adult.
Oh my goodness, that's economical. Very economical.
Yeah. Children, we get $4.50, 4 to 12, and then under 3 is free. 3 and under is free.
Now let's kind of bear this down a little bit as to the River Christian Fellowship Church. You said is at 4002 North, 3300 East Falls Avenue in Twin Falls. Give us some landmarks so people know where to go.
Actually, the easiest, if everybody's familiar with the Shoshone Falls, you turn off Addison or Falls, either one, like you're going to go to Falls, and it's right
on the corner.
On the corner. It's a great big church. You can't miss it. It's the one with all the radio antennas and stuff up.
Yep, it's right there on Falls. I was going to say, it's the easiest right on the corner, headed down to the Falls.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. You want to hand that back over to old Lonesome George?
Well, you're on a roll this morning, sir.
No, I just like picking on you. I haven't seen you for a couple of months. You've been up on the mountain.
Yeah, just took time for myself.
Yeah, you did. That's good. I'm glad. How are you connected to the combat motorcycle veterans? You don't have a Harley.
No, I don't. I love them, but I rode one years ago and it scared me, and so I got rid of it.
Did you really?
That's
a lot of thrust and a lot of power there, huh?
Yeah, but I got involved with the combat veterans doing our Rupert POW program. They'd escort our POWs in, and what goes around comes around, I guess.
Yeah.
I ask them, and they jump right on it. They've asked me a couple of times for a few things, and and it's helping each other.
Yeah. I know that JR called me about 2-3 weeks ago or whenever it was to come on the program, and he very nicely said, "May we please come on your program?" And I thought, you don't have to ask me to come on this program. I'm very supportive of what you do. And, George, all the activities that you've headed up, and JR with the Combat Veterans Motorcycle, glad to have you on the program. I really am.
Thank you, Zeb. And it's... JR and the combat veterans been a real asset to what I do. I couldn't do what I do without them.
Yep.
To make it as good as I guess as we can get it. But I'd like to comment on that dinner last year. Donna had that congestive heart failure, and she couldn't come, but she prepared the deal, and Adam and I went up and was very, very impressed. You take a bunch of motorcycle people together, and they're all gentlemen.
Absolutely.
And I was impressed. They had a nice raffle, and they did the POW table. Adam asked him to do the POW table, and it's just...
That's very impressive.
It is. It's just a good group of people to be around.
Let me ask you, Donna's doing well, I hope?
Yes.
She's back in her old form?
Yeah, you heard her on the air yesterday.
Yeah, I did. She may. Oh, man. Oh, did I hear her on the air yesterday. Yes, I did. You talk about having deodorant city, boy. I mean, I was scared.
Yeah, she told me about that this morning at coffee, and I had to kind of chuckle, and I thought, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I thought, too.
That's why we got a muffle on JR.
I got to do a commercial, and then I want to ask both of you a little bit about what's going on in the world today, especially right here in our country, with the so-called athletes. I want to talk about that in regards to veterans and your thoughts. Stand by. I want to remind everybody about Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4, and this is where the fun is sold. They've got all the new 2018 snowmobiles, they've got all the 4x4s, they've got the side-by-sides, and they've got all the accessories, everything you need, along with the best doggone service department around to keep you running all over southern Idaho, enjoying the great outdoors. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Oh, it is true. This is where The fun is sold. We're going to take care of a weather forecast real quick, and then we're going to come back with more with George and JR, so stay tuned. But right now, our weather is brought to you by our dear friends and accountants that can really help you. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. In Burley and Rupert, they've been serving the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years with the best of accounting services, tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, payroll services, etc. All of this and more by people that really know their business and can help you with yours. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Well, here's a look at your weather for today, and we are going to be in a wind advisory at least up until about 9 o'clock tonight. Winds out of the southwest steady at about 20 miles an hour, gusts possible of 40 plus. So if you are a big rigger, please be careful out there. Other than that, looking at mostly sunny skies for today, high of 62 tonight, low of 40 tomorrow. Mostly sunny, high of 60 with an overnight low of 41 as we get to the weekend, Friday and Saturday. 70% chance of rain showers in the forecast. Highs are going to be in the low 40s to low 50s and lows in the mid-20s. That is your weather for Zev at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And don't forget, it's about time to get your 1099s and W-2s out and all the tax planning for the end of this year going into 2018. Be sure and get a hold of our friends, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. George, I'll start with you. You've got the microphone over there, and I'm very, very serious about this. I think the situation with our overpaid, underworked athletes, whether they be the NFL, the NBA, whatever, taking a knee and disrespecting our flag, disrespecting our country, disrespecting our military and our police. As a veteran, and I'm going to ask JR the same thing, your thoughts about this?
Let me start off by saying freedom has a flavor that the protected will never know.
Amen.
They didn't fall in the position they was in that was given to them. If it wasn't for the veterans giving them the freedom to do what they do, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. And you know, you and I and the world has let these so-called sportsmen and all that fall through the crack by not getting the flag education, U.S. Constitution training.
There you go.
We've had generations that was skipped. And it's shown today what happened.
I could not agree with you more, and that's why I'm so glad you're here to mention this, because you and your grandson Adam have been very instrumental in having that kind of rise up out of the dust with flag education.
It is. Adam wrote a letter to Senator Kelly Anthony took it to task. We volunteered to buy the books for him, and with the help of the combat veterans, we was able to succeed. The Rupert Elks is now buying the flag books. We're buying the U.S. Constitution books, and it's a community effort, but we've got to teach them to respect not only the flag, the military, but to respect each other.
Amen.
You know, you get around those big bucks and you look down on people. It's wrong. You know, you need to get back to the basics.
JR, I'm going to ask you the same thing. I have said, and I agree totally with Donald Trump, the President of the United States, when I won't use the exact verbiage that he said, but he'd fire the you-know-whats. And quite frankly, if I was an owner, like the gentleman that owns the Houston Texans last week, when all of them, almost all of the team except 10 players, took a knee in kind of spite against the owner, I'd just say, hey, guys, you know, you've got your last check from me. I'm going to bring up the taxi squad, and that's how we're going to finish out the rest of the season. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you, the only thing, what George said, the only thing he left out in my book is they left God out of school, too. I'll tell you, as far as I'm concerned, I've got a son-in-law that he's a dyed-in-the-wool football fan, and he's not watched one game this year.
Yeah.
That ought to tell him something. That ought to explain a little to somebody if they'd pay attention.
As a veteran, and you've served your country, you've served all of us, and I thank you for your service, both of you. I mean, doesn't that kind of stab you right in the back to see these prima donna athletes that have done nothing in their life except play a sport to make $1 million per game in payment? What does that make you feel like?
Well, I probably ought to say what I feel like on radio. But I'll tell you, I heard that one of them complain about, they're just making us do that, making that. Well, if they work for Jack Simplot, they go to work, they're going to be told what to do. If they're working for anybody, a farmer out here, and they get told what to do, I'm sorry, guys, but...
JR, you bring up a really, really good point. They really haven't worked or learned the ethics of working. They've played a sport through high school, into college. They were drafted into the pros. They were offered contracts that, when you break it down on a per-game basis, anywhere from $800,000 to $1 million a game. I mean, JR, they don't have a work ethic.
No, sir, they don't. And they like I said, they've been handed to. A lot of them don't have the IQ of a sole of your boot, to be nice about it, because they're good athletes. They've just been pushed down the line through college and everything else, and they're just unbelievable.
Well, I think it's hurt America, and I think it's been very divisive against America versus other great Americans. But when you look at these athletes taking a knee, and they really can't answer the question, many of them have been asked by various news reports, etc., well, why are you taking the... Well, they give a little balderdash answer. They don't really understand, like George said, flag education, the pride and honor in this country, and what it is to be an American in the greatest country in the world.
Absolutely. I really hope that out of this, not just them people, but other people watching the outcome of this, the end game, that they all learn what it's about. I hope sooner or later they all learn.
Got to do a commercial break, and then we want to highlight that dinner again. Don't forget Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. Number to call and find out all the information you want for your loved one that might need that little bit more of one-on-one care. Call them at 436-3200. That number again, 436-3200. And they really want you to come by and make every effort to take a tour of the place and find out more, because they really care for the residents at Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 924 Christian Way in Rupert. Again, that number, 436-3200. They're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Please call them today, Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center. Okay, JR, it's going to be this Saturday, the 6th annual dinner and raffle for the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, Idaho Chapter 13-5, Veterans Helping Veterans. Give us a rundown again about all the costs to get in, what you're going to eat. George is going to cook, a whole 9 yards.
Yeah, well, we got back up on that. Dawn is cooking, George doing dishes. But we're going to ask $6.50 for adults, $4.50 for children, 4 to 12, and under 3 is free. The dinner's going to be 5-7. The raffle we got posted at 7 o'clock, but we're going to try to start some of that. We have a lot of we'll sell raffle tickets for a lot of small items, so we'll probably give away some of that before 7 o'clock. But it's been a successful deal, and we have a lot of fun with it. People come out and really enjoy the dinner, enjoy the evening, afternoon at the church.
Absolutely. George, any final thoughts from you? I know that you're living the life of a king of luxury right now, just kind of enjoying things.
It is, and I want to make a comment on this 6th annual dinner and raffle that is open to the public.
Absolutely.
And I've noticed last year when I was there, we had some people come in on canes. I think there was one come in a wheelchair.
Oh, my.
You've got all these combat veterans. They jump up and help them to the seat and what have you.
Yeah, we want to make sure, and let me interrupt you there, it's completely open to the public, and they really need the public's help at this raffle and dinner to help support other veterans.
It is, and $6.50 for a meal, that's awful cheap. But
well, especially the gourmet food that you and Donna are going to make.
You're right. But people want to help the community. This is the way to do it.
Absolutely.
The money goes to that, and no money goes into pocket. It goes right back out the door to help people.
You two do a lot for the community. You know that?
Thank you. But it's a privilege and honor, and I've been blessed to have JR and combat veterans in my life. It's just made my job a lot
Well,
easier.
no, you're not the one that was blessed. I've been blessed on this program to have been associated with both of you guys. George, I've known you now since, what, Hector's pup was a little dog or whatever?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. And JR, I met you, I think it was about 5-6 years ago, didn't I? And then, of course, I just relish the fact that when JR and the rest of them get on those Harleys and come cruising into town, that is something else.
It is, and it's I've really proud to be associated helping the combat veterans because they make you stand tall.
Absolutely. Now, I want to emphasize the location again. It's easy to find, folks. It's on Falls Avenue. That's the road. If you want to know, if you head west on Falls, you're going to be by the college. Well, no, you don't go that far west. You stay on Falls, and it's east of Twin Falls Blue Lakes, and it's at the River Christian Fellowship Church, right on the corner. You can't miss it. As you go down to the Falls, it's the River Christian Fellowship Church. It's going to start at 5 with the dinner, the raffle at 7, and Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, Idaho Chapter 13-5, 6th annual dinner and raffle. Veterans helping veterans. Any final thoughts, real quick?
Yes, thank you very much for your support. I can speak for JR. We can't do what we do without the help of you and Deanne, so thank you.
The only reason that you showed up this morning, and I'm trying to remember how many loaves of zucchini bread are still in the freezer, but you probably are going to walk out with something, I'm sure. You're looking for it now. JR, final thoughts.
Final thoughts, Seb, but just like he said, we really appreciate you and Deanna. We appreciate the community. We've had I'm having a brain pain here.
I have all those.
Stokes over there has made some, in Burley, has made some potato rolls that last year was, absolutely, they used them up. So we got 15 dozen coming, so everybody will have plenty.
15 dozen?
Yes, sir, 15 dozen. Independent Meats has got some hams they donated to us.
Oh, my goodness.
Really nice hams.
Wow.
So everybody come over and just enjoy and have a good time.
That's going to be this Saturday, November 4th at the River Christian Fellowship Church in Twin. Veterans helping veterans. Absolutely. J.R. Strunk, George Mass, God bless you both. I appreciate you being on the program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right now, we're going to tell everybody we're going to take a little break and send it back over to CBS News. They're going to mess up everything we put together over the last couple of hours. Then at 10:06, we're going to have one of our favorite guests, Dr. Dennis Durrell, coming on, talking about an opioid crisis in this country that absolutely is tragic. And then at 10:30, guess who's going to be on the air? It's going to be Kim Lee, the owner of Lee Family Broadcasting. We're going to talk about Nielsen ratings and radio in general, so we got a whole bunch of good things coming up over the next hour. Right now, we're going to send it back over to Wheels, and he's going to play some music, taking us up to CBS News. Oh, here we go. Boy, it was nice to see some good friends stop by this morning. George Mass and J.R. Strunk. Really good guys. And, George, did I forget to say anything that was on the card you gave me? There you go. Good guys. There you go. Anyway, good morning, Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And get ready for winter driving. Stop in and see any one of the great 7 locations today. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, along with some of our great sponsors and advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call 734-6969. We're going to have our guest with us in just a moment. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, all teamed up to help you with cozy, comfy inside, great Lennox home comfort systems. All you have to do to check out to see if you can get up to a $1,600 rebate on a new Lennox home comfort system. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, serving you. Don't forget again, John Anderson running for Burley City Council for a 4-year seat, and like I've been telling you, his main goal is to keep Burley a great place to live and raise a family. He absolutely says he can bring a lot to the table in serving on the Burley City Council. He's a former mayor of Burley for 8 years and very concerned about the city infrastructure, the growth, and everything else, and he would really appreciate your vote on November 7th. 4th. John Anderson running for a 4-year term on the city council for Burley, paid for by John Anderson. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and with us is one of my favorite guests, and I just really enjoy hearing him talk about healthcare and all the other problems related with healthcare in America, and one of the big problems is the opioid crisis, and we have with us right now Dr. Dennis Durrell, a physician and national medical director of the Acute Services for IPC Healthcare, and also the author of a book called Your Healthcare Playbook, Winning the Game of Modern Medicine. Whew. Now that I've got all that out of the way, good morning, Dr. Dennis. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Zeb?
Good to have you on the program, and I want to start things off this morning as we talk about these painkillers and the opioids and everything. Over the last couple of years, I've had a lot of problems health-wise, and I was offered the opioids as a pain treatment, and boy, I'm glad that I was made aware beforehand to just say no. I understand how addictive they are and everything, didn't want anything to do with it, and did I do the right thing?
That's it. I mean, that is exactly what the public and everybody needs to know and be empowered to understand the risks of these things and to say no. Just last week, my dad called me. He's had pain in his neck from some nerve pain and degenerative disc disease, and he said the same thing. He told the doctor, I don't want opiates, I don't want those drugs, and he's on physical therapy. So you did the right thing. Everyone needs to be aware of this. And for those that need it, it's a different story. If you have a kidney stone or you've been burned over part of your body, I mean, there are times when you need that kind of medication. However, most people can do without it. You can use other modalities of treatment and medications for that matter, and you avoid all the risks. So that's exactly how you do it.
Well, let me ask you this, Dr. Dennis. Let's go back to the basics. How did this problem, and I'll underline that word problem, with opioids, their use, their abuse, how did it get so big?
Well, I mean, if you make it, they'll come. So, you know, the drug companies made a lot of different derivatives of narcotics, of opiates, morphine, and then synthetics. So they're actually chemically made fentanyl and carfentanil. And so a lot of these medications got on the market. That's the first thing. The second thing is there is discussion and allegations that they were marketed as, quote-unquote, not being addictive, which we know is not true. There's a lot of lawsuits on that front. And then there was a movement in the late 90s, Zeb, where hospitals were being regulated and judged on how well they treat pain. And they were getting sanctioned by bodies that give them accreditation. And doctors were being told, hey, you're not treating pain well enough. Then we had patient surveys of satisfaction that really heavily looked at pain management. So you had a movement of doctors trying to satisfy this need. You had plenty of medication out there. And that was the beginning of the problem.
Okay, but now in our society today, Dennis, are we too much of a feel-good society? Oh, gee, I got an ache and a pain. Let's pop a pill. Oh, gee, I don't want to have anything happen today, and I don't want to have a pain later on. Let's pop a pill. Have we turned into kind of a wussy society?
In my opinion, yes. Absolutely. You know, there are so many better ways to treat and prevent problems than a pill. And in fact, in my book, I talk about medications can be our greatest weapon, but guess what? They can turn on us, and so they can be the greatest weapon against our own bodies. And I tell everyone, everything has a side effect. Even a necklace can give you a reaction. So it's not just drugs. The oxygen, you get too much of it, it's bad. We don't understand that these medications have side effects, and we're just seeing the ultimate example of how side effects can really ravage our country. So, yes, don't reach for a pill. There are a lot of new ways to treat things that don't do it, and frankly, For example, if you can lose weight, many people could get off blood pressure medication. It's just one example. Same thing with diabetes. So I agree with your point.
Let me ask you this as far as our society is concerned. We've become so dependent on the medications that our doctors will prescribe and will take them without any questions. What about we as consumers? I maintain, and I hope you're not offended by this, but I maintain that I'm the general and you are one of my servants under me. In other words, I'm coming to you using my money to hire you to help me feel better, but I want to know the answers to all my questions. Have we as a society lost that as far as asking questions and finding out more about what's prescribed?
I wouldn't say we've lost it, okay, because the history of a doctor is patriarchal. It really originated as, hey, the doctor knows best, and patients didn't ask it or ever question. So that was really where it began. But to your point, where we're moving is consumerism, which you're describing. You're the consumer, and I'm going to facilitate, educate, and provide information to you. At the end of the day, you're going to make the decision. That whole construct is called shared decision-making, and it is a movement in medicine, and it is growing. But keep in mind that some people still like the old way. They say, hey, doc, you tell me what to do. So I want patients to be empowered if they want to move to the model you said. I call it a coach and a player. Hey, you come together, and I'm your coach. But at the end of the day, you're calling that final play. And it's the best way. I want to get patients to that level. And that's what I talk about in my book, how to do that and not be afraid to do it.
Okay, but now you are a very outgoing person. I can tell by your demeanor and your personality, and I really want to get your book, your healthcare playbook. But now you will share that information, but you will also tell me, I'm sure, that there are many doctors, and by the way, I'll say way too many, that come into the room with an arrogancy and I am God, you listen to me, and I think they sometimes cow people into thinking I better not ask any questions, and I think that's wrong. I think people, it's their health, and they should ask all the questions, and the doctor should take the time to answer them.
That's it. Well, I tell the story in my book of my sister who had pain, and she went in, and I knew probably what it was, and the orthopedic surgeon, literally walked in and said, you're gonna do this. You're never gonna be jogging again. That's it. And I told her what to say. I said, say, wait a minute. Who's in charge of my body? And what about what I want to do? And once she said that to him, he changed. And then he started to look at it from what her goals were. And it was very important. And then he looked at his watch, and she said something else. Is there someplace you need to go? And he changed again.
Yeah.
And so I use that story. Look, I've been in the hospital when another sister was there. The doctor was rude to me, and he knew I was a doctor. So I realize what you're up against, but you can do it, and you need to stand up for yourself. And the good doctors will respond, and those that don't, you need to leave anyway.
I'm in no way, shape, or form trying to denigrate the medical profession, because I, more than most people, have been involved with my different health problems, etc., and I have great admiration and a lot of respect for what they do. But the caveat is, going back to what I said a minute ago, I think that all of us need to find out more questions and ask those questions, because like with this opioid crisis, my goodness, once these people are hooked, what then?
That's exactly right. Another thing to think about, Zeb, I talk about in the book, of course, I use football analogies. Bring an agent with you. All NFL players have an agent, and they only have their back. They're not concerned about anything else except that player's interest. If you have trouble sometimes being empowered, bring someone with you. I found that's been another way to do it, and they can help you feel empowered and get your questions asked, and go to the doctor with the questions. That's exactly right. It's, a lot of times in these patients that are misdiagnosed, is that what happens is there isn't enough back and forth. There isn't enough questioning of, if you just say to your doctor, what else could it be, you're going to get in a dialogue that could expand the thinking and get some diagnoses that are missed by just using that statement. Do I really need this medication, or what else could it be? If you say those two things, you'd be surprised, and that's exactly what you did. Do I need this? And that's important.
Let me ask you this question, and I think I'm speaking on behalf of my mother who passed away a couple of years ago, but I remember vividly that they were afraid, my family members that were there with her at the time, they were afraid to say anything like getting a second diagnosis from another doctor. Do you find that to be a major problem?
I think it is a major problem. We know that 1 in 20 patients are misdiagnosed. I talk about in my book members of my own family that have been misdiagnosed and actually died, and they went to a doctor's office. So this is a very big problem. And if you are, you have got to ask for a second opinion. If you have that feeling in the pit of your stomach, something's wrong here, you've got to get a second opinion. And by the way, any doctor that is against a second opinion, you need to run from, because good doctors are okay with more minds on the case. But yes, I think patients are afraid to bring that up because they think they're going to offend the doctor. That is not the case. Good doctors will not be offended. And please seek second opinions. When things are not getting better, do not just accept the status quo. I've seen it hundreds of times that we get to a better answer. In fact, the Mayo Clinic found when people are sent to the Mayo Clinic, 80% of the time, the diagnosis either changes or is modified. So that should tell you something.
Let me ask you, in your book, your healthcare playbook, Winning the Game of Modern Medicine, what did you do to divide up the chapters? How did you divide it up into various portions of interest and education? Tell us a little bit about the structure of the book.
Sure. The first part of the book is the beginning, what we need in order to interact with healthcare. That's insurance, frankly. So the whole first part is about how to pick the right insurance for you and how to get covered. Because the reality is if you don't have some form of payment, it's going to be very hard to get healthcare. That's the way it is, minus, obviously, the free care in the U.S. So the whole first section is planning how to get the best plan. By the way, this is the time of year to read the book because right now your employer is saying, hey, do you want your plan you had last year? And most people, they check what they had last year. They never look around. They don't explore the options. Yeah. The middle part of the book is all about what I said, staying safe in healthcare, staying safe in the hospital, avoiding errors, making the choices about surgery, and making the best choices and finding the best doctors. And the last part of the book is when things go wrong. When you get that bill from the insurer because the doctor was out of network, or you get this huge hospital bill and they're calling a collection agency, I give a lot of ways to help you through those difficult situations.
All right, we have a caller with a question. And good morning, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I don't know what it is, but people nowadays, it seems as though they don't take the time. Here they have a device that they can literally ask it anything, whether or not it's Google or Siri or whatever. And you'd like to think they would be an objective answer coming from it. But, you can do research on the phone that you carry around on your hip. And you don't even have the gumption to try to see what is best for you. This is my opinion. A prescription is the last thing I'm ever going to do. But that's just for me. There's so many options out there to be healthy. If we're healthy, we're better citizens, we're better husbands, we're better wives, we're better people. We drive safer. Our society is better. But when we're all on opioids, or whether or not it's legal or illegal drugs, our society is caving in. We need to understand what the temple that God gave us is, and we've got to maintain it. I'll hang up.
I appreciate your remarks. Dennis, if you would, please respond to the caller.
Well, I think he put it wonderfully. Let's not rely on chemicals, foreign things to put in our body. If you need them, that's fine. We need medications. It's saved many people's lives. However, let's not make it our first instinct. Why don't we promote our health? Why don't we exercise? Why don't we improve our diet? Why don't we do the things that we can do to treat our body like a temple? And I do agree, because we're spending $10,000 for every person in America on health care, by the way, twice any other country in the world, that eventually that's unsustainable. And there is a civic duty, in my opinion, with trying to maintain health and to bring the cost down of health care in our country. So I think I agree with everything he said.
I want to revert back again to the visit to the doctor's office, and let's just say that you go in, the doctor examines you and hands you a prescription, and from that juncture, instead of just getting up, putting your jacket on and leaving, I think that people need to say, wait a minute, doctor, if I take this for this, what's going to be the side effect, and what can I look for as far as anything that might be negative in my system? Don't you think they should ask that question?
Well, I think it starts exactly, yes, they should. But they should say, everything that you do in healthcare, whether it's surgery or taking a pill or any advice, anything a doctor tells you, you have to ask a couple of questions. What if I don't do this?
Yeah.
Okay, what if I don't take this and I don't do this?
Right.
Okay, I'm going to tell that story. What if I do take this? What is the benefit? But then what? It's exactly you said. What's the risk? What's the downside? And when you know those pieces of the puzzle, you can make the right decision. But you do have to ask those three things. And then you can make an informed decision. And the doctor, the coach in my mind, and yours, the general, they're there to give you the answers to those questions. And at the end of the day, your body, you make the call. But yes, please ask those questions. Don't just take something and say, okay, I have to work with my dad on this. He doesn't like to question doctors, but he has learned through reading my book. In fact, I tell stories about him in the book, and he's good with that. That look, doctors, physician means teacher.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what physician is. Doctor is a teacher. Go ahead and ask those questions. They will answer them.
One final thought here, Dr. Dennis, and I'm kind of straggling on how to find the exact words and the phrase and the verbiage for this, but with elderly seniors going into a doctor and being a little bit inhibited about, I've got this problem, and the doctor says, here's the medicine, or you need this procedure, etc. Today, with healthcare plans being so exorbitant and not very explanatory, don't the seniors and people that go to doctors almost need somebody there with them to help explain everything so they know what's covered and what's not covered and really the devastating effects? It seems like it's worse today than it was 30 years ago.
I think so. I really do. My mother is a social worker, and she was with hospice. Now she's a patient advocate, and that's exactly what she does. She just actually goes and helps patients through some of the stuff you're talking about. So I think in this day and age, with the complexity, you ought to please bring a family member or a friend, or in my book, I talk about a doctor who became a professional advocate for patients. So there are options out there, but yeah, I think I really do. When my wife was in the hospital, I spent the entire time, 9 days with her. I wouldn't leave her side. And so that's the way, unfortunately, it has to be right now.
Absolutely. Now, your book, your healthcare playbook, tell us, I know you were on a couple of weeks ago, we talked about it, but where can people find your book?
Best place, get it on Amazon, and it's in Kindle form as well there. Or you can go to, if you want to go to a bookstore, you can get it there. But best place to get it is on Amazon.
Dr. Dennis Durrell, opioid analysis this morning, and he's also a physician and national medical director of acute services for IPC Healthcare and the author of the book, Your Healthcare Playbook, Winning the Game of Modern Medicine. Dennis, you're always welcome on this program. Thank you so very much.
My pleasure. Take care, Zeb.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. I learned a lot listening to him, but I think the general gist of the conversation is we have to be the leader of our own cause when we go to the doctor. We've got to ask questions. We've got to find out the pros and the cons. We've got to find out the effects. We really need to ask more questions. And like he said, you've got to ask questions and make them answer the questions. Remember that when you go to the doctor. They are working for you. You are paying them. It's your life. Ask the questions and demand the answers. Don't forget that we've got a gentleman by the name of Mr. Ralph Carlson running for candidate for the Burley City Council, and he absolutely wants to work for you. Ralph has helped design a couple of microwave components used on at least 2 of the Mars rovers to facilitate communications. He really understands how businesses work, and he wants to serve and work for the city of Burley as being a member on the Burley City Council. Don't forget, too, he knows that this area and Burley has a lot of challenges, and he wants to be there to help with zoning restrictions, utilities, street and recreational facilities, all of this and more. Don't forget to vote on November 7th for Ralph Carlson, candidate for Burley City Council, paid for by Ralph Carlson. In just a moment, we're going to send it back over to our main studios, and we're going to have Wheels take it over. But I also want to remind you about a great big sale that's going to take place on this coming Saturday. Well, look who's here. My goodness. Kim Lee just walked in. I want to remind you about the Bennett Boys Auction Service. Great big sales taking place this Saturday, November 4th. The Penny and Courtney Hahn Horse Auction. It's going to be located over in Wendell, Idaho at 3012 South, 2200 East. Don't forget, just look for the signs. Wow, have they got a lot of good items on this sale bill. A sheep wagon, livestock items. They've got sporting items. They've got tractors, ATVs, antique farm equipment. They've got a lot of guns like a Ruger M77 300 mag rifle with a scope. They've got a lot of antiques and lawn and garden items. All of this and more. Shop equipment, tools, etc. at the Penny and Courtney Hahn Horse Auction taking place at 11 a.m. this Saturday, November 4th, over in Wendell. Managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. And Joe Bennett, give him a call, 539-0111. Remember, Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys can sell them all. You get over there and take in that sale on Saturday. We're going to send it back over to Wheels in our main studio and then come back with a good friend of ours and the owner. Got to be nice. Kim Lee, Lee Family Broadcasting. Don't go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to our last 30-minute segment on Zeb at the Ranch on a Wednesday, November 1st. Don't forget, Bryce Morgan is running for the Burley City Council, and he wants your vote next Tuesday on November 7th. And he brings a knowledge of finances and accountability to the table, and he also wants to help manage the growth in the Burley area. He's a man that has a master's degree in business administration and a bachelor's degree in accounting, and he's worked for the last 14 years in the transportation industry in southern Idaho. Don't forget Bryce Morgan for Burley City Council. He wants your vote next Tuesday, November 7th, and that's, of course, at Burley City Council, Bryce Morgan, paid for by Bryce Morgan. I am very fortunate to have a friend that I've known for years and years. We go back, my goodness sakes, almost 40 years now, when he was just a mere pup and I wasn't much older. Kim Lee, the owner of Lee Family Broadcasting. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Thanks, Zeb. Very good.
I'm going to have you get a little closer. Yeah, there you go.
Well, I tell you what, although I'm in the radio business, I don't get behind a mic maybe once a year.
Really?
Oh, hardly ever. And I always tell this story. My dad put me behind the mic and listened to my voice and looked up at me and says, "You're in sales." That was my career as far as a broadcaster.
Well, you've done very well. I mean, Lee Family Broadcasting, one of the most respected organizations in broadcasting in all the state of Idaho.
Well, thanks. We have grown, and we have more things on the horizon. I've spoken to you, a while back, the plans for K-Bar, and exciting. So we have some stuff on the horizon.
That's why I didn't retire.
Yeah.
Seriously. But what about broadcasting today and through this period of time, the ratings? This is a time for the ratings. Everybody wants to find out where they fare with the audience, how many are listening, so they can go to the advertisers and say, look what I did, that type of thing. What's the big rating right now that's being surveyed for the public?
Once a year in our market, we have a rating service, and it used to be Arbitron, but now it's Nielsen, the same company that does TV.
I see.
And they're in our market at this time, and they send out diaries. And maybe some of the listeners have received a diary. However, I believe if you're in Burley and Rupert in those counties, you will not receive a diary.
Why is that?
Well, you know how money talks in this world today?
Unfortunately, yes.
My competitors in the Twin Falls market, my radio competitors, have blocked the Mini-Cassia area out of the surveys because they know how dominant we are in Burley and Rupert and Minidoka and Cassia counties, and so they were able to dictate what counties they wanted to be surveyed, which is really frustrating for me because we do not get to show these two very dominant, popular counties in the survey, and because we're so good up here with our stations.
Absolutely. Well, how did they legally or financially manage to close the door on you?
Well, it just got down to, hey, we're paying for this. I can't even. If I wanted to buy the Nielsen, I'm blocked out.
You can't?
I can't because the other radio stations dictated the metro. They call it a metro, and so the metro for us is Twin Falls, Jerome, Gooding, Lincoln, and Blaine.
Right.
That's the metro, and they left out Cassia and Minidoka. So it's like, when we go to our clients or, locally here, we have rapport with our clients. We can go to there, Deanna and yourself, go in and talk to them, and they know the strength and popularity of the stations. But when you're talking to people that are buying for Fred Meyer or
Target, whatever.
Target or whoever, any national agency, they don't really care who Zeb Bell or Kim Lee is. They just want to look at numbers.
They want numbers.
They want numbers.
And so now the numbers for you and your stations basically are going to be misleading.
They're flawed. They definitely are. Yeah, they are. I mean, don't get me wrong. We have listeners in Twin Falls and Jerome.
Oh, absolutely.
And all over. But we super serve Minidoka and Cassia counties. We really do. I mean, K-Bar is Burley and Rupert. That's what the call letters are. You know?
Let me ask you this, though. With a flawed system like this and basically not being honest to the clientele, why would Nielsen want to underwrite something like that? Because isn't it kind of a tarnishment on their name?
It is, and I've had this discussion with them. And
I bet it was a discussion.
It was, and basically they go, hey, it's all about the money. So they dropped their pants. That is what they did. They just lost their credibility. So I've had to, go the extra step, and I was going to leave you a couple of the one sheets that I send out. But I talk about the forgotten counties. I took that off the forgotten people. So the forgotten counties of Minidoka and Cassia, and I have to explain what's happening in our market. It's just a extra, hurdle that I have to do to get those national and regional buys, and it's just it's just extra. It's extra work for us to go ahead because we just have to explain what's happened in our market. So.
Why couldn't there have been, and I know this is hindsight, but why couldn't there have been a sharing of the equity of a Nielsen rating with all the parties concerned?
That, if I had to be look back, and look at what happened here, but it is $40,000 a year. $40,000.
$40,000 is absolutely an enormous amount of money, even in today's age. But what I would say is, if these folks that you're talking about basically bought and paid for the Nielsen survey just to show themselves as a knight in shining armor, that's illegitimate.
Right. Exactly. It is.
It's just buying credibility with the audience.
Right. And for us, it's like being, fighting with one hand behind our back.
Absolutely. So what really are you going to be able to show or tell the advertisers or the sponsors or anything? Are they going to see through this facade?
I'm trying, and I speak it every day when I talk with my reps. I have reps in all the major markets that represent our stations, but it's just it's a story that has to be told and retold, and it is a hurdle that it's just been frustrating. Although I will tell you this, I have commissioned another rating service, and it's called Eastland, and they will look at the four counties, which are Twin Falls, Jerome, Cassia, and Minidoka. So I will have some ammunition that way to share with advertisers and these agencies that handle national stuff. So kind of looking forward to that, and we'll have those mid-December.
It's just interesting that you should say this, Kim, because yesterday, as a matter of fact, my wife and I were at a meeting, and the first question out of this prospective advertiser's mouth was, "Can you show me the numbers?"
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. I mean, they want to know the numbers, but when the numbers are skewed to the point where they're just prejudicial for one certain source, that's not fair and honest, and it's certainly not indicative of how good we are.
Right. I have this conversation pretty much every year with Les Schwab because they're handled outside of the market.
Yeah.
And talk with Randy all the time.
Good old boy.
Yeah, great guy.
Good old
We're
boy.
always just battling away with the agency because they're looking, they're not looking at this Burley store or the Paul store or the Rupert store because they're, they only get to see numbers out of Twin Falls. And so it's just, so Randy and I have to go to war with the agency, and you probably, I don't know if you've had to experience that or not, or work directly with Les Schwab.
Well, I tell you what, the Les Schwab people, as you know, they're my major sponsor,
right.
all 7 locations, and I absolutely would do anything to help them because they have done a lot of things to help me. I mean, just recently we did a kicking Harvey out of Texas routine to where we went and got boots and horse tack and everything donated, and you can ask Randy at his location over there, and Lane and Rupert and Max over in Paul and everything, they were deluged with boots and everything else. So I know we've got the listeners, and I know they contribute.
Right. And we're getting ready to do our turkey drive. We do it each year.
Yeah.
Last year we were able to get around 1,200 turkeys. I'm thinking it's 1,200 to 1,300 that we were able to obtain from listeners and businesses, and we're able to distribute them through all the charities. And so, the things that the radio stations do in the market. We did a month ago. We did a need for bleed and collected blood.
I remember that.
And just a lot of different things. We're always...
what gets me is, and I know you've heard this as an owner and also operator of the stations. Well, you'll go to a client, you'll sit down and ask them about, would you like to advertise on this, that, or the other, and here's what we can do for you to serve your business, and they'll go, well, yeah, but you're a Twin Falls station, or conversely, you're a Burley station. People don't realize that at the county lines, the airwaves don't stop.
Yeah, I fought that all my life, being from Jerome. Twin Falls advertisers thought that signal stopped at the canyon.
Yeah, there's some kind of a policeman that's holding his hand up there or something.
Yeah.
But the radio business in general, man, Kim, it seems like it's really changed since I started in 1969.
It has, Zeb, and I don't want to say the best days are ahead of us, but the fun days are way behind us.
I think so too.
Yeah, I started out with, when my dad did. I said
he was a pioneer.
Yeah,
he was,
and he had CART. That was his first station, and then he added the FM, and now they've just, I have 8 radio stations now. 8.
No wonder your hair turned my color.
Yeah, and you can go down the dial, and it's just every time you click it, it's just there. But as you know, and for us, we really lock up the Minidoka area, and it's not as fragmented up there. Our signals are strong. Our FMs are up on Mount Harrison by Palmerell, so we go to south to Boy, my mind is gone. South to, what's the little town in...
Snowville?
Snowville. There we go. Snowville, that
Don't worry.
far,
Somebody asked me my address the other day, and I just had a vague stare come over my... It happens when you get our age.
I just hate getting old. But, we own, this market up here, and I don't mean that to be bragging or anything. We just, so we go to our advertisers and let them know, hey, we're not as fragmented as the stations are in Twin.
One of the things I've noticed with K-Bar, and here locally with K-Bar, 1230 a.m., and then, of course, I have an internet service. My internet audience is absolutely huge. I mean, I get calls every day from Texas, California, Florida, but a lot more people are listening outside of the realm of the Mini-Cassia area, and it's growing, and it has grown for the last 2 years. And that's why I take great defense when somebody says, well, yeah, but you're based over in Burley and we're here. I have a lot of advertisers and sponsors from Jerome, Twin Falls, etc.
Right, yeah. That streaming has been a great thing to have with broadcasters, and because some situations in areas, maybe in a building where you don't have a good penetration with your signal, they can pull it up and listen on their computer, and so that's been a great benefit. And K-Bar, I got up early and was listening this morning in Twin, and it's scratchy down there. It is, on my car radio, it's scratchy. So we're, I've talked to you about that. We're going to go to the FM side with that station and have a clear, clean signal in that market here in the near future. So that they call it a translator, and so we're able to just duplicate that signal on K-Bar over to the FM side.
I'm going to do a weather forecast. Then I want to come back and talk to you about the business itself and how it's changed and transitioned. But right now we've got a weather forecast coming up by Scarrows Meats. Don't forget Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road in Jerome. The number to call, Don, 324-7657. Oh, the delicious Scarrows Meats. And you can go to their website and check it out, scarrowsmeats.com. Everything from the bacon all the way to prime rib. Absolutely delicious Scarrows Meats in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Well, here's a look at your weather for today, and we are going to be in a wind advisory at least up until about 9 o'clock tonight. Winds out of the southwest steady at about 20 miles an hour, gusts possible of 40+. So if you are a big rigger, please be careful out there. Other than that, looking at mostly sunny skies for today, high of 62 tonight, low of 40 tomorrow. Mostly sunny, high of 60 with an overnight low of 41 as we get to the weekend, Friday and Saturday. 70% chance of rain showers in the forecast. Highs are going to be in the low 40s to low 50s and lows in the mid-20s. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and thank you very much, Don Scarrow and the crew. Delicious meats. Every time we have Don on the program, he's always got some kind of a great innovative idea. Remember, give them a call or stop over. 324-7657, Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Kim, when I started in the radio business way back when they still circled the wagons at night, it was a people deal. I mean, there were people and personalities, and it was a hustle and bustle of salespeople going out, and there was the people that worked in the station, and there were the people that did the ads. I mean, it was a people business. Has it really changed?
We have tried very hard. We're one of the few broadcasters that still have a lot of bodies, a lot of DJs. Gina, you just heard her. She wears a lot of different hats and at the station, and always looking out for my broadcast facilities. And we have great talent and personality still, but they're getting harder and harder to find. We don't have people. We used to have, young kids walk through the door and interest in the business, want to know about how to become a DJ, and that's few and far between now. And I think that, I hate to say this, I think the internet and the social media and just new technology has hurt our business.
I agree. We have a caller with a question. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Thank you.
Yeah, I can get K-Bar all the way from, Rattlesnake Pass, all the way back this other way, just the other side of Wendell out there. And I guess my complaint is I wish I could get it go further, because I like listening to especially, the 2 morning shows.
Well, let me tell you this. Take your computer along on the front seat of your pickup and then plug in zebbell.com when it starts to wane on the radio and plug me in and you can hear me.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Hey, thanks a lot for your call. God bless.
We're working on that.
All right. Caller number 2, go ahead. You're on the air. Talk to me, caller. Go ahead, please.
I was told it was going ahead of me. I got a question for your owner of the station. On Saturday nights, we have dead air from about 5 minutes after 9 until midnight. Can that be corrected? I mean, it's just a carrier, no audio or anything, just dead air for about 3 hours. And then on the 10 o'clock news in the evening, they always cut the news short by 5 or 10 seconds, and you never get to hear the end of it. Can that be corrected?
I'll put Kim on the air. Go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Well, I think we just corrected that, Gina. I'm sure she's listening, and she will find out what the technical problems are there, but I do appreciate the heads up on that. We've had some problems there in the evenings, and a lot of this stuff at nighttime is automated, and we don't have a body sitting right there at that time. And so, Gina, there you go.
All right, we got another caller. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Quickly, please. Thank you.
Hey, I want to be quick. I love your broadcasting of the local sports, high school sports. The only suggestion I have, and I don't know if it'd be possible, if there's some way to stream them so that out-of-town games you can listen to those broadcast over the radio at the same time.
Yeah, we can do that, and I don't know why we haven't. And we are one of the few broadcasters. Oh, sorry.
With the apps and stuff and the FM, Cat Country and that. But as far as K-Bar,
right,
a streaming service doesn't exist for that.
Yeah. And we need to get on that. We are one of the few broadcasters left even in the state of Idaho right now. They're even broadcasting local sports. And
That's right.
We're very proud to be able to carry Burley and Minico and Jerome at this time. Those are the 3 schools we cover every.
I can't tell you what an asset that is to the community, and it's wonderful to be able to hear our local football, basketball, athletic teams on the radio.
Well, thanks for that.
May I say to you, sir, thank you for taking the time to call. It's people like you that make our situation even better, and thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
There you go. Talking about young people getting involved, I went to a very high qualified school to learn about the communications business, radio and TV, and I'm very proud to say that I have my degree and everything, but it's amazing to me that this industry would be hurting for qualified people to get involved.
You had to take a test.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and pass so you could actually have a license and go on the air.
That's right.
And that's been eliminated for quite a while.
And I think that's a bad thing. I think they should have kept that. Don't you?
Yeah, although, just that on-hand experience, that you probably... how'd you get...
How did I get interested in it?
Yeah.
By accident. And I was a football coach, and they asked me to do the color commentary one game. That's honestly the truth, and that's how I got involved.
Is that in Wisconsin?
Back in Wisconsin, the Dairyland State. I know it seems like they got a good pro team, though, the Green Bay Packers or something, right?
Yeah, they used to.
Okay, they used to. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Kim, Zeb, the talk shows on K-Bar are very important, and I think that, especially with Zeb and, Steve some, but, Zeb has, guests from all over the country, and, there's nobody else doing that, and I'm not just kissing his behind here. That's not the truth. This is reality. But there's nobody doing it, not in Boise, not in Idaho Falls, because I listen to them, because I travel a lot and I turn them on. And the guests that Zeb has are like nobody else is doing. And so not even Twin and with Bill, and we all know who they are. And but I think that that kind of information needs to be spread, like you said. We get it on the FM. That's important. But it also, these talk shows are important to our valley because it brings a cohesive community feeling. And so, yeah, that's where, in my mind, AM that's what it is. It's talk shows that are informative and interactive. And thank God we have them.
Thank you for your call. Kim, go ahead.
Well, Randy, you can kiss up to me because we did graduate together. Good to hear you. Thanks. Yeah, K-Bar is unique. It's, most AMs have their own national talk shows, and I'm so proud of what we have with our local talk. It's very unique in any market, and you won't find that at all. Most of them are using national syndicated programs, and we do that, in the evenings. But we start with you in the morning, Zeb, and then with Steve, and then we have Jerry come in and play some old music. But we gotta try to keep that local flavor, but it's pretty rare.
I tried to on this program. I started changing it about 7 years ago to where I really wanted to get some more of the national flavor, if you will, and I developed some friendships at some of the major networks, Fox, CBS, NBC, etc., and contacts, so that many times on my program I'll have the same guests in the morning that you'll see on Hannity or Tucker Carlson that evening, or vice versa. And they've been very amenable to coming on, and believe me, K-Bar, honestly, not that big a venue, but they've been very friendly and very forthright, and I feel like any person that I want to contact in the national media today will come on our program.
That's very impressive. Why don't you try to get a hold of Mitch McConnell? Why don't you get a hold of him?
As a matter of fact,
Paul Ryan.
Paul Ryan is hopefully going to be coming on this program next month. I put a call in, and I've talked to some of his people, and we're trying to get them in. But we've had all the national people, like Brigitte Gabriel last night was on Fox News talking about that tragedy in New York, and she's been on our program numerous times. And it takes a lot of work and effort. But I'm almost out of time, and I want to say God bless and thanks for coming on the program.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been fun to be on K-Bar. Like I said, they do not let me behind the mic over there very often. So I appreciate the opportunity to let listeners know about the broadcast business. And if there's anyone out there that's interested in getting started, just stop by the studio.
Give us a call.
Open door. Yeah, thank you, Zeb.
Kim Lee, the owner-manager of all the Lee family broadcasting stations, thank you very much. I want to remind everybody to get ready for winter driving with your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. Yes, you're going to be driving on that slippery ice and mush and snow. Look out. They've got all the tires you need for safe wintertime driving. Be sure and stop by and see any one of the 7 locations today. Check out the WinterCat SST. Excellent winter traction, a great tire for you, a safe tire for you, along with the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. Oh, the best in batteries. You stop over and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland and Burley. The best. Doing the right thing matters at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Running a little bit late, got to run right now and tell everybody we'll be back here tomorrow morning at 8:06. Zebeth Ranch, where we always say the way things were are the way things ought to be. Wheels, have a good day.